When I was an R&D scientist 40 years ago now, the accessible market for what I invented was rich Western countries. And despite decades of market access programs, that hasn't changed that much. And that's mostly because we think that the problem is about pricing, which it isn't. It's about science, but not the kind you expect. And by the end of this 5-minute seminar, you'll understand why science is the solution to the access problem. I recently read a report from the Access to Medicines Foundation. It said that the access programs that many pharma companies have for low to middle income countries were not comprehensive and their effectiveness is uncertain. It reminded me of one cold February morning in 1978 during my induction training for my very first job in a pharmaceutical R&D lab. The presenter showed a map with mostly Western countries in blue, where we sold our medicines, and the rest of the world was blank, where we didn't. When asked why we didn't sell to the majority of the world, she said there was no demand. What she meant was there was no ability to pay, which in commercial terms meant no demand. As an academic who researches the industry's evolution, I see this problem through a different lens. Access programs cut prices, sometimes to zero, through cross-subsidies. That helps, but not enough, because the issue isn't the purchase price, it's the cost of the innovation itself. From a Darwinian perspective, expensive innovation is a trait of current pharma business models. Unlike reptiles in cold climates, these models don't survive well in low-income environments. What we need is an evolutionary leap, as radical as warm-bloodedness was for mammals, that slashes the cost of innovation. We already know what that leap looks like. In my book, New Drugs, Fair Prices, I argue that the key is reducing the attrition rate in drug development. Lower failure rates mean lower costs mean deeper access. It's that simple. And the key to lower failure rates is better translational science. Well, if it's so obvious, why hasn't this leap happened? It hasn't happened because fundamental translational science is a common good, like clean air and public parks. Common goods benefit everyone, but no single company owns them or is allowed to exploit them. Consequently, firms invest in applied translational research, which is proprietary, but not in open access fundamental translational science. Governments fund some of this fundamental research. The NIH has a long wish list, but not nearly enough. And that's why pharmaceutical innovation is so expensive and why the world's poor still have little hope of accessing innovative medicines. So here's the lesson. Access isn't just about price, that's just the proximate issue. The ultimate issue is about the cost of innovation. Solving that requires an evolutionary leap in how we develop medicines. And that requires a leap in translational science. So if your strategy suffers access issues, let's talk about it. As well as being an academic and an author, I help pharma and medtech strategists solve their strategic capabilities. I do this using my insight from my research into the Darwinian evolution of our industry and 4 decades of practical experience as a scientist and strategist. If the industry matters to you, then subscribe, share and explore my work. My website has a free library of over 400 articles and papers. My YouTube channel has over 100 videos. Best of all, let's have a cup of tea and a chat about how my research can help you.